When did you first believe that you wanted to become a pastor or a reverend? Or
Well, I was drafted.
how were you drafted?
Well, I was assigned to a little church. I was a church lady. Matter of fact, I've been in church basically I have been in church all my life, and there's no question about that. One of the things I really loved about church was the people who were there basically cared for me. Miss Grace Jones was my Sunday school teacher. Miss Grace Jones, when I was in kindergarten, she was the kindergarten. When I moved to the next group, she was there. When we got to the intermediate, she was there. When I got to the youth, she moved to the youth. She moved, worked with me and through Sunday school all the way up until I became an adult. And when I was 16, I was the chairperson of the administrative council at that, what was called the board at that particular time. And so I was a young man and assumed the man responsibility and had it all dumped on me because I was the youngest person in the administration at that particular time. And that's why I kind of got into it. And then eventually the pastor recommended me to be a lay speaker, and I accepted that responsibility. And then they sent me to a little church down in Louisville, Arkansas, in Canfield. And that's about 18, 20 miles from Hope, Arkansas, past Hope, Arkansas. And on this, every Sunday morning, we get up and go down, and my first appointment, Louisville and Canfield, those two churches. And that's where I got started and got into it. And, I enjoy what was happening and what was going on, and young, and I guess feel like I was called to make a difference. My grandmother was at the Baptist church, but I had a church experience all my life. My grandmother was in the Baptist church, and they had church at night. And the Methodist church was where my mother belonged to, and they had church in the morning. Baptist church had church morning and night. And so whenever somebody would ask me who I was or what denomination I belonged to, I would tell them I'm a Methodist in the day and a Baptist at night. Yeah. So we kept that piece going, and I had that both experiences, and it helped me to get an understanding in terms of just what the faith is, how they differ, and began to make a decision about who I am and where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. United Methodist Church, or the Methodist Church at that particular time, was more of a missional church and what have you, and showed great opportunities for doing mission. My teacher and the person who really, I guess, helped me to make that decision was named Theressa Hoover. And Miss Hoover was a church and community worker. She was a graduated Philander, and she worked with a white lady by the name of Margaret Marshall, who was a missionary. And Miss Marshall was signed here in Little Rock to work with missional churches, which were AME and CME Methodist churches, to bring them together to help build community. And that's how I got a chance to know Miss Theressa Hoover. And she went on to work in New York, and she served as the women's chairman of the women's division for 27 years, I believe it was. And she was the highest ranking lay person in the United Methodist Church for 27 years, running that women's division.
And she's a Black woman.
Black woman. And matter of fact, she was from Fayetteville, and had to leave Fayetteville and go to Atlanta, Texas, in order to finish her high school. and then come back to Philander, to Little Rock, to finish college and whatever.
Now, when you named the church after her, did anybody have any? Did anybody not like that, or did they not want you to
Oh,
do it?
they had the conference had some names that they had thought that we should do, but I had another friend that worked in New York as well. His name was Nicky O'Reilly. Dr. Riley at one time was the only earned PhD from seminary um, here in Little Rock in the conference, and they had some names that they had thought that would be the right name for us to use. But Dr. Riley wrote the paper for the Black Caucus, and again, I was drafted into that committee. And matter of fact, he wrote his doctorate dissertation at the parsonage in Conway, where I was assigned to at that particular time. He took off a couple of weeks and went up and did his dissertation and wrote it all out. And when he got through with it, he turned it in. It was so radical that they took it up and tore it off into little pieces.
Yeah.
And told him to take it, put it in a sack, and took the carry on back. So he had to bring it back to Little Rock. When he brought it back to Little Rock, Bill Carter and Lonzo Benson and a couple of other persons who were a good friend of mine had a responsibility of putting that paper back together so he could rewrite the paper all over again. And so he gave me, you do what you think is right to do rather than what somebody else wants to do. I tell people all the time that, I may die, go to hell. I'm going on my own. I ain't gonna let nobody else send me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we did. We named it after her. And at that particular time, it was the only United Methodist Church named after a Black female.
Okay.